Welcome back to another episode of Talk with Tani, your merry source to weddings. Today we are so excited to have on the show Cece Asuncion, owner and director of Slay Model Management, the world's first trans-exclusive agency. Hello everyone, it's me, Tani Nolenberger, your favorite wedding planner. And today, as I mentioned, we are sitting down with Cece Asuncion, owner and director of Slay Model Management. So Cece, please tell us about your fabulous self.
So I'm Cece. I am the model director and owner of Slay Model Management, which is the world's first and only trans-exclusive model agency, and the only one that counts, really.
So you were born and raised in the Philippines. You came to New York,
That's
moved to
correct.
San Fran, and now you're here in LA.
Well, you really researched. I like it. Thank you. Yes, that's correct. I was born and raised in the Philippines, and then I moved when I was 18, 19, somewhere around there. I like to be vague, but I'm 45. And I moved to New York for a bit, and I was working at the Bryant Park Hotel, and that was the first time I actually saw like real models, because I was working at the Bryant Park Hotel, and New York Fashion Week would happen at the park itself.
Awesome. So we're going to put you in the hot seat for a second, and we're going to play a little this or that fashion edition.
Yes.
New York or LA?
New York.
Gucci or Prada?
Prada.
Clutch or tote?
For me, tote, but for women, clutch.
Heels or flats?
Always heels. People are going to hate me.
Always. Although I'm fangirling mules right now.
True. I mean, 90s are coming back, though. Yeah.
Statement earrings or statement necklace?
Earrings.
Earrings.
For sure. I mean, if we're going to go.
They're just like, they're dainty today. Denim jacket or leather jacket?
Leather.
Leather,
Right?
yeah.
I think it's like, there's something about leather that really just dresses up anything.
That's true.
You
I
know.
like it. Okay, so we're gonna dive right in. So you founded Slay Model Management. When did you found it, and what was your why behind the foundation?
I started Slay in 2016, and I was coming off of doing my documentary called What's the Tea, and I met a lot of trans people who really needed employment. And also, secondly, I grew up with the supermodels, you know, the Lindas and the Naomis and the Carla Brunis, and I really just felt physically they were kind of similar. The high, you know what I mean, the high cheekbones,
Yeah.
the long neck. I figured, why not? And I really, to this day, I'm still very thankful to the community because it really kind of gave me a purpose. I was kind of just tired being in the hospitality industry. I used to manage hotels,
Yes.
which means I smiled and apologized for a living. And I still do that,
That's true.
but not by bulk anymore. So that was it. And I met so many amazing women, and I figured, why not? And it's done very well for me.
Right.
I've met amazing people. My original models are still with me, some of them. And it gives me a really, really great reason to wake up every day.
I love that. And I mean, you are really pioneering a new model in the industry. And even with starting Slay, would you say you've seen an increased ratio for trans model bookings, or just even the acceptance of them?
I think there's definitely change.
Yeah.
I always try to come from a place of gratitude. I can't be mad at the entire industry, especially when in the beginning of the industry, when I started in this industry, I really just wanted what's fair.
Yeah.
I wanted them to be able to walk the same runway. If they fit the clothes, if they can walk the walk, why not let them do it?
Yeah.
I don't want more. I just want what's fair.
Agreed.
You know?
I love that.
Thank you.
Well, you just had a model call in February. So what do you look for in a Slay model, or in their personalities, or just someone to represent your company?
You know, a model and agent relationship is a very slippery slope because you're 50% friend and 50% business partners. I'm not their boss. They're not my boss. when they starve, I starve. People don't know that about models and agents. So really, when you become a slay girl, you carry on my name, and I represent you too. So know that when I'm in the rooms pitching you, this is the face that's actually going to charm them and consider using you.
Yeah.
And it's a boutique agency, right? I only have 22 models.
Okay.
And really, a lot of times people think that it's like, oh, Cece doesn't care where he gets his permission from. But I do. And I think a lot of casting directors really respect that, because I'm not one of those agents who are like, send me trans talent.
Yeah.
Then I send the whole agency. No, I really listen to them, and it's like, what do you need? Even with you, right? When you were doing this editorial, I'm like, what kind of bride did you want?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to waste people's time.
True.
I'm not going to go and send you someone who won't work for your brand. I will send you someone who will fit. And sometimes I would convince you to use someone. It's really just that. It really just depends. I actually just saw one of my favorite casting directors in Austin, Chad with Bach Creative. He uses my girls a lot. And we were just discussing this, that it's like, how has it changed?
Yeah.
And I think the more awareness there is, and I really do appreciate really the young Gen Zers on TikTok and all of that. I mean, I'm terrified of them too, don't cancel me.
Yeah.
You have to vacillate between appreciating them and telling them, hold up, girl, I'm the one hiring you.
Yeah.
You know, so it's an interesting world. I love it for the most part.
Well, we love what you're doing. And I think there has been a shift and change and acceptance with society. I mean, perfect example is Victoria Sampaio, who was the first trans woman to grace the cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. I mean, that's huge.
It is huge, and I'm very proud of her. I think it's what I do have a problem with bigger agencies is this. Don't go and pat yourself on the back by putting a trans woman on one cover. And the rest of the year she's broke.
Yes.
Because then you've used her as a press vessel.
Yes.
Of patting yourself in the back. Oh my God, I hired a trans person.
One time.
Yeah. Like, what about it? That's kind of the thing. A lot of people don't understand the difference between true representation and tokenism. Mm-hmm. And that has to change. The only time true representation can happen is it's through consistency. And every time you do a casting call, a lot of faces are involved.
Yeah, that's very true.
You know what I mean? And I'm just coming from a place of thank God that you're all here at the party. I'm not going to be mad that you're late. I'm glad you just came, you know.
That's a good point. Well, we're here. We're here
I
to
know,
the party.
I know. I'm kind of mad that they didn't use one of my girls, but that's okay. A lot of these girls would come from Ford or IMG or Elite, and they're feeling themselves.
Yeah.
Then they realize, holy shit, my agent isn't even sending me out to where cisgender girls are being sent to in castings. Mm-hmm. That's unfair.
Yeah.
You know, women are women, and that's what I always tell a slay girl.
Yes.
You are a model first and a trans person second.
To piggyback off that a little bit, I mean, me being a wedding planner, I feel I'm one of the most accepting when it comes to relationships. And I mean, love is love, baby. You know what I mean? So when it comes to titles in society, I feel like people are very used to it being black and white. They're not used to change. And I feel with the LGBTQ community, they're really coming in and adding new terminology to what we know of. And I think people aren't really receptive of that. So I think my question really is, when it comes to labels, are they just trans models, or can they just be a model? And also, you know, can my couples just be, a bride, or do they have to be a trans bride?
I think that's really it. It's their models first.
Yeah.
Whether you're cisgender, whether you're black, whether you have vitiligo, or you know what I mean, or whatever it is, you're being hired to be the face of a brand or a designer. Really, it's do your job and do it well.
Yeah.
I mean, I was raised by my mother, by a single mom, And I was one of those lucky Asian ones who were like, she already had a doctor. My sister's a doctor and my brother's a lawyer. So the rest of us could do whatever the hell we wanted.
Yeah.
But have integrity and be the best at it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of being the best all trans model agency because I'm the only one. So I have to be the best at it. And really that's how it should be. You should not be defined by one thing. You should just be very accepting that you're a multifaceted person.
Yes.
And that you're not defined by one thing. And really the work-life balance thing is very important too.
Yes, that's perfect. So where do you see Slay, where do you see yourself taking Slay 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What's next for you?
World domination. I think that's what's interesting about it is because the level of acceptance is very different within the world. When I was in the Philippines, I thought America was like this big giant place of like acceptance and love and advancement, which there is some truth to it, but the last 4 years, America's kind of ghetto. You know what I mean? And I'm not afraid. Yeah, we're behind.
We're really behind.
Like if you go to Thailand, trans people have more acceptance there because it's a Buddhist country and it's all about love. Mm-hmm. Sure, they need more acceptance and love and employment. But I look to the East sometimes when it comes to advancement.
Yeah.
That being said, the respect that the agency and my girls have built, and boy, I have one boy, I will use that to leverage and understand that this is a viable business and that they are beautiful. And really that's it. I want to open a Slay in Europe, in Asia,
Worldwide domination.
Worldwide, yeah. I mean, they really are beautiful. You've met.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, yes, they're gorgeous. I mean, I told you I want to put her in my pocket and I want to run around all day with her and have her be my best friend. She's amazing.
It's really crazy because, like, if you even think about, like, LA Fashion Week and New York Fashion Week, I mean, LA Fashion Week. I mean, like, I think if they got all together and really stopped using their cousins Olga from Russia, like they all look the same, I'm like, then guided together, the level of modeling and beauty would be raised higher here in LA.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of the roster that I hold. And really they give me meaning. And I think that's it. It's like if you understand, like I'm an immigrant.
Yeah.
I always find it so amusing to me that it's like the world is so big out there and the amount of people that you could meet that would change your life if you open yourself to it. I did, and it's worked out for me.
Your roster is amazing. Just the diversity in your roster alone. I mean, it's just, don't quit your day job, Cece.
I'm very proud of that because my ground zero, who is Aris Wanzer, who has worked with Kenneth Cole, has worked with like everyone, and she hosts Pride and she's the face of Truvada. Nobody can clock our agency. If you scroll all the way down from when we first opened it, you will see Black faces, Latin faces, Asian faces, white. We're all there.
Yeah.
And if you look at other agencies, it's all white, and then there's an awareness, and I'm not. No, I am clocking them. Yeah. I'm just very proud of it. I think that's just what makes it beautiful. I've lived in bigger cities. I've lived in New York. I've lived in San Francisco. I've lived in LA, and that's just how I've designed my world. I like my world. Yeah. I mean, even this place right now, it's filled with many different faces, and I if you could just live inside his head and what I see is beautiful, I think you'd have a really great appreciation of everyone.
And me again coming from the wedding industry, I do think there is a lack of diversity in what we see and what we portray. When you saw it last year with the Black Lives Movement happening, I remember I did a video and I typed in wedding magazine covers, and every single one of them was white brides, every single one of them. So, you are seeing a shift in the industry with, I would say, popular wedding blogs, but what would you say is missing in the wedding industry, or what would you like to see more of representation in the LGBTQ plus community?
First, I mean, it's not just LGBT.
Yeah.
I want people to understand that there's So there's poly, there's pan, there's so many different types of people, and really it's about love.
Yeah.
And it's truly hard. Whenever I get talked to about diversity or representation, true diversity will never happen unless someone creates a documentary and we're all in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to discern what kind of people you want to surround yourself with. And you have to be very open because the world is changing.
Yeah.
We just shot a show in Georgia, and I was at the local Ralph's, and there was a trans woman there, and that made me really happy because it was like a small town.
Yeah.
And she didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
She was wearing heels, and I'm like,
I'm
you
here.
go.
Grocery shopping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Go find your butter, girl. You know, and I think that's what it is. Once you open yourself up, that it's not just black or white. There's so many colors in between, and there are problems, yes. But if you just take a deeper look into truly what matters, which is, there's so many broad strokes, right? Even between you and me and our differences, I think people forget that people just want the best in their lives. They want the best career. They want love. And there are so many things that neither of us are exempt from. Yeah. We're not exempt from grief. We're not exempt from gender inequality, from pay inequality and all of that. But if we have mutual respect and actual kindness with one another, we're good. We can sleep great at night.
Yeah,
you know?
Agreed. And I think it's just a matter of education and people willing to listen and opening up their mind. I mean, you're seeing characters like in, what's that show? Euphoria. Hunter Schafer is a representation. She's a trans actor. And I love her. She's fabulous.
And I think people forget that. Another thing people forget with trans men and women is they're someone's kid.
Right.
There's someone's sibling.
Sister, brother.
Yeah, it's, you can't, you know what I mean? You just have to respect what they come from. But because of years and years of what we're conditioned with what trans people are, that has to change. Yeah. You know, they're not creatures of the night out to trick you. You know what I mean? Like, they're not that. The same way, like, I'm not a doctor or a nurse, you know what I mean? But generally you see me walking down the street, oh, look, I'm sure he's a doctor. You know, it's all those things that you just have to be cognizant that whoever you're dealing with, somebody loves this person, you know?
What would you say to someone who is trans and are looking for support or a community? Where would where do they start or where do they go?
My first advice is to be comfortable in your skin, love yourself, know your negotiables and non-negotiables, and open yourself up to the fact that you are lovable. Then everything else will follow. Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say to someone who is trying to learn more about the trans community? Where would they go?
Google. I think that's the thing here. We can't expect a community to go through their life having to explain who or what they're about. Yeah. Resources have been created. You just have to have this deep wanting to learn about it and to find out. When I did my documentary, I knew 0 trans people. I contacted the local transgender nonprofit called Trans Thrive. Her name was Tita Ida. I sat down with her and I said, I want to learn everything before I even went into production. Right. And that was it. And I learned and I understood and I just listened. You know, even with love, right? Trans women are women. If you're a cisgender straight man, if you find one of them attractive, go with what your heart tells you. Yes. Find out who they are, because it is 100%. Not about what's in between their legs. Yeah. That's not what defines a woman. My sister had cancer. She had a double mastectomy. Right. That did not make her lesser of a woman. And I think when you, as a man, open up your heart and your mind mostly about what a woman is, then your life will change, you know? It's true. It's
No, it really,
what
love is love.
it really is hard because it's like I listen to my girls. This one time, like at the model shoot, we were all waiting, they're all getting made up and all of that. One man was texting all four of them. Like they start to get treated like a fetish. And it breaks my heart because like all these women, they make me laugh. They, I suddenly turned into some mom and I don't know how that happened. My mom would always make this joke. I went through this whole phase where I wanted kids, right? And she would always say, well, see, that's what happens when you go and pray. You have to be specific.
Yeah.
Now you have 22
All the
children.
kids,
Yeah. No, she would always make jokes about that. But then I'm like, this is kind of cool. I do have kids.
Yeah.
But then when I get annoyed, I send them home.
Yeah.
So I don't know. My life is pretty cool.
I agree. Who inspires you most?
My girls.
Yeah.
Aris inspires me a lot. She's a black trans woman who goes on every day.
Yeah.
She will go to her auditions. She will go to her go-sees. She has done so much for the community. She will make the top 10 trans model list some days. Sometimes she doesn't. And she and I would have these conversations. I remember the Advocate magazine had this one Asians in Hollywood cover. And I wasn't in it. And I was like, I've done more than these people.
Yeah.
So you kind of like, it gets to you, right? But then I wake up the next day and I do what I have to do. Because you can't get hung up on that.
No.
You can't, because I'm not going to join the Oppression Olympics. I'm not, I'm gay, I'm middle-aged, I'm Asian. Aris Wanzer inspires me. Dominique Silver, another one of my models. She and I talk every day almost. Who else? Kim Gravel. Okay, here, Kim Gravel and I work together, and she is one of the head hosts of QVC. Mm-hmm. She had a show on Lifetime. On paper, she and I could not be any more different. She's a woman from the South, but really, I think that is proof that it's about your hearts.
Yeah.
It's really about accepting one another for who you are, and really helping advance each other to meet the best possible version of you.
Where can our audience find you?
So we are on Instagram at Slay Models LA. So follow us. Yeah. You'll find me there too. Mine's like this complicated Instagram name.
I know, it took me a while.
I know. So that was my nickname, which is Yet. Like not Yet. And it's stupid. And then my last name, Asuncion, which is the capital of Paraguay. And trying being charming in a bar when someone asks you what your Instagram is and it just doesn't translate.
Yeah. So give him a follow, and thank you, Cece, so much for coming on the show today. You are just a ball full of energy, and we love having you around. So, mwah! Well, thank you, Cece, so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And just being a pioneer in the trans community. Never stop. Never stop.
Thank you. That means
it.
a lot to me. Thank you.
And if you learned something new today, do us a favor, hit that like button or subscribe to this channel. Our business is based on referrals, and we'd love to connect with someone new. As always, stay creative and be legendary.